Welcome back to another reaction for The Warrior Princess and the Barbaric King, episode 10.
厄介な相手に目をつけられた。火を吐く竜など奴らしかおらぬ。黒金山脈の主の血脈、火竜、誠の竜、グレンナイリ。
誠の竜、森滑りと同格の相手か。
だが森滑りの時のように手負いでもなければ数十人の戦士たちがいるわけでもない。正面からやり合えばわしらはともかくセスリとマルシアスが死ぬるぞ。
何か対抗手段は？竜の写し身も火を吹くとか。
こやつはあくまでも空への憧れの精霊。飛ぶことしかできん。
地上に降りて戦うほかないか。
火竜相手に二人では無茶だ。何よりそなたは兜がない。逃げるのが最善手である。大体火竜は竜もどきに興味など持たぬというのになぜ。
I mean, it feels a little bit weird that there's this dragon and no one knew about it. It feels like someone is controlling it, or it is maybe also a mock dragon. We have machine guns.
クエフトの大量砲
聞いてなさそうですけど。
牽制で十分。降りるぞ。
Also, he was like, hey, the dragon normally would not really care about this imaginary dragon that he summoned. But somehow this dragon did care, and so I assume there is a reason behind it. Maybe it is breeding season, maybe it is children, or maybe someone was messing with the dragon. Maybe the dwarves, because they're ready with machine guns. I assume they knew this would happen.
Naisei殿、ご無事で。
ご支援形がない。しかし相手が相手、分が悪い。今は退くが賢明かと。
はい、分かった。皆砲は置いてさっさと連れてれ。
4番行動へ退避。
お嬢。
So they have modern guns. I feel like they would be really strong in a war. However, they seem to be very withdrawn. Maybe that is why they are not really using their superior technology. Also, why that we just leave machine guns alone, depending on how easily they can make new ones.
さん方もこちらに。しかし。見ちゃダメっすよ。クエフト傭兵の科学薬学の粋をごろしろっせ。
After Hunter technology, it's a fucking flashback.
Sera, 息を止めろ。伏せるぞ。
Why is it still going after them? The dragon is gone. Maybe we will find out if there is something happening or this is just a freak accident. However, his cloak is fire resistant, which is interesting. Also, it seems like they have experience with flame breath. Because he was like, okay, essentially stop breathing and go down so he can cover her with the cloak, and her not breathing means that she's not going to breathe in the hot air. So the air is most likely really, really hot and it would burn inside. He did say this is one of the whatever dragons. This one is very strong, so it's surprising that the dragon, that the dwarves didn't say anything about this. Maybe that is why they want him to come here, so they can get rid of this thing. Because the anti-dragon guns did nothing.
なんとか逃げられたのか。
どうやらそのようだ。セラ、怪我はないか。
おかげさまでな。というか、お前の方こそ無事か。それ。
少し炙られた程度。大事はない。セラフィーナ様。
二人とも無事っすか。ああ、みんなも無事で何より。いや、出迎えの監視員が慌てて報告しに来た時はびっくりしたっすよ。
クエフとの援護がなければ損害が出ただろう。感謝する。
あれが出てくるのは珍しいのか？
加工が縄張りであったはず。中腹より下で見られるとは思わなんだ。
まあ、竜の考えることなんてわからんもんす。今はとりあえず全員の無事を喜びましょうや。
そうだな。
さあ、着いたっすよ。
Very industrial.
ここがドワーフの里？ようこそ僕たちクエフトの里、霊下の航路へ。山のふもとをこんな綺麗にくり抜くとは想像もできないほどの技術と労力だ。そう手放しに称えられたら嬉しいっすね。何せ研究と穴掘りは僕らクエフトの誇りっすから。なるほど、実にドワーフらしい。名乗りが遅れた。私はセラフィーナ・ド・ラビラント。先の目つぶし実に見事でした。そんなかしこまった言い方よしてくださいっす。背中がかゆくなるっすよ。タメ口でいいっすって。ええ。僕の名前はキマキって言うんす。よろしくっす。ああ、よろしく、キマキ殿。どのもいらねえっす。
It's clearly a girl, woman, whatever. Also, this whole city, question mark, seems pretty big. This is not a small little, oh, we are just a couple dwarves. This seems to be like a whole civilization that is on par with their stupid knight civilization. And I feel like they would not be able to fight against the dwarves because of, you know, anti-dragon guns.
よーし、名乗り合ったのも何かの縁。今日は僕が客人を案内するっすよ。
キマキ釣りいいな。
早いもん勝ちっす。
お前方向音痴やろ。お前が案内なんかしない。
せっかく名乗ってもらったが、ものすごく見分けづらい種族だな。
Yeah, I just wanted to say they are always wearing the mask. It was also questionable if the air quality is good, because they did call it Furnace City. So there is probably a lot of heat going on, a lot of fire, a lot of smelting and whatnot. Unless you have good ventilation, I feel like the air is slowly going to become worse and worse.
暑いな。それにこの独特な匂いは。
これは硫黄だな。
硫黄？確か火薬の材料だったか。軍事教本で読んだ記憶がある。
It's actually hydrogen sulfide that has a strong odor. Solid sulfur is odorless. So the eggy smell, I guess.
皆さん、こっちっす。クエフトの里の湯脇川ったらここのことっす。
Right, I forgot we did go here for the hot springs. Initially. I mean, we went here for a lot of reasons, but hot springs were one of them. You have a gauntlet on. How are you feeling the water so fast?
本当に湯が湧いてる。現実的な光景だわ。
二人とも温泉は初めてですか？
話は聞いていたが、まあ見ての通り見えてるんで、あっちで冷ましてちょうどいい温度にしてあるっす。
Nah. That origin perfect for a lady. I would probably have to qualify perfect for a mother. Because for some reason they are like, oh yeah, no, this is a nice boiling bath for me. Insane.
セラ、また後でな。
さすがに別になるよな。
にゃは、ベイオル様と一緒が良かったと。
そんなことは言ってない。
クエフトの文化だな。不思議なことに男女別々に脱衣所と風呂の入り口があるのだ。
It does bring back that his nation and his culture does not really care about that. So they also then probably don't see the naked body as too interesting. They are mostly focused on fighting, and that is how they decide who to pursue. So it does check out.
私としてはお前のてらいのなさの方が不思議だよ。どうぞっす。ドワーフ用だからか天井が低いな。全部金属製なんですね。建材にできる長さの木材は運ぶ手間のせいで貴重品なんす。代わりに石材や金属なんかはたくさん使えるんで、まあおのずとこういった作りの建物ができるんす。土地の特色というものだな。
セラさん、甲冑外すの手伝いますよ。
To be honest, on one side, I mean, it totally makes sense. I also was like, maybe metal holds longer. However, in a bathing area, I feel like wood would be a better choice. Nonetheless, she did say it is harder to bring it in, which I can see. Especially in big amounts. So you essentially use what you have, which is the mantra of like humans. I mean, we don't really have many other civilizations. You just use what you have. We have like cities built in cliffs, we have clay housing, stone housing, wooden housing, whatever you have a lot of resources you use to build with. It's that easy. They have a lot of metal and stone. They use a lot of metal and stone. Makes sense.
私も。はあ、頼む。しかし温泉か。
天然の風呂とは果たしてどのような浸かり心地なのだろうか。
I would assume she is getting hot and bothered by the armor, because it's like a metal armor thingy. It is also very shiny, mostly lean. Her stuff she's wearing is very bulky. Or she's really like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and see her naked. I don't know why she is so important, but I would assume it's the armor. But we'll see.
男女別の文化はどこ行ったんです？しかもこんなに堂々と。いやな、キマキ。
She's not a child. She's a dwarf.
少年といえど着替えを除くのはな。
ちょっと待ってっす。装具のせいで声くぐもったっすかね。これでよしっすよね。あれ、まだ信じてもらえないっすか？じゃあこれでどうっす？
Dwarf titties, not what I expected. I also didn't expect her to bind. I don't know if that is to try and support them, because maybe the bra doesn't exist.
女の子って僕今年で55歳っすけど。50？
年上？
コーネムでいうところの20歳くらいっすね。以前も西の人に子供っぽい容姿だと驚かれたっすけど、みんなヒゲ面とか聞きかじりの偏見っすよ。
一応古い物語として伝わっている要素のはずなんだが、
多分ヒゲの元ネタはスカーフの見間違いっす。
Okay, I can definitely see that. Also, why are you dressing again? You're supposed to go into the bath? You can't go into the bath dressed.
ね、場所柄男女ともに防毒防塵マスク必須っすから。
伝聞とはそんなものか。
にゃはは、この感じ最近ご無沙汰ですね。
お前、こうなるの分かっていて黙っていたな。
ベイオル様の元へ来た当初の頃を思い出しますね。
でもなぜセラフィーナ様のお着替えを食い入るように見つめていたのです？
あれを見てたっす。
See, it's the armor. Because she's a dwarf, and dwarves like to work with meta and stuff, and it's shiny and not lightweight, but it's a very good armor, and she's like, oh, I would like to see that. I would like to make something like that, because hers is very bulky.
甲冑？
白さん、おもてなしをする代わりといってはなんすけど、西の甲冑の隅々まで分解して整備させてほしいっす。
整備してもらうならむしろこちらが対価を払う方では。
とんでもないっす。だってあんなエッチな工芸品を前にして手を出さないなんて無作法っすよ。
特殊な趣味の持ち主だ。
まあ要するに僕ら趣味人なんす。珍しい工芸品や技術素材の研究、科学薬学の知識まで面白そうなものは何でも全部知りたくって、そんな連中に知識欲を満たせる機会が来たんなら大歓迎っすよ。
キマキ、分かった。好きに研究してくれ。
やったー。
マジか。もういいから来な。
You're definitely not, woman. Why are you did you just wait until she got the okay? And didn't she want to go over there and do this? Many questions. However, I mean, interesting that everyone here is very obsessed with whatever they see they want to be occupied with. She with the armor. He did say some of them with weapons, armor, science, and it seems like they are very single-minded in that regard. Very tunnel visioned. But that also means that it would explain why they have such strong technology, because their people are not going to sit still until they succeed in whatever they want to achieve, seemingly. Also, they are long-lived. I mean, she's like, oh, I'm 55, but it's like 20 years, meaning they go up to like 200 years. So they have a long time focused on a specific thing or a goal, and they're going to achieve it at some point.
後で僕も触りに行くっす。
男女別の文化いずこに。
Yeah, I was wondering that as well. But also similar to Vera, I feel like these guys would not care if you were naked. They only see the armor. Now, this is also one of those things that is very hard to identify. How is attraction going on? Like the dwarf lady, if there was like a normal human, would she be attracted to that, or would she be attracted to only dwarfs? Or is it really rare for people to be attracted to other races? Or is that more common? Because if we go by our human standard, I feel like interracial relationships would be the norm. But that doesn't mean it has to be in a fantasy world.
広いな。焚き木何本分の贅沢なの。本当に天然の風呂。この湯濁ってません？
それは溶けた硫黄が結晶化したものっすね。
硫黄が溶け込んでいるのか？
だからいいんすよ。疲労回復や切り傷やけど、冷え性にもよく効くし、肌もしゅべしゅべになったりとか、硫黄様々っす。
全部薬湯なのか、ここって。
そういうことですね。
しかも自然湧き。
ちなみにこの源泉は少なくとも2000年は湧き出てるんすよ。
イルドレンの歴史より長い。もう深く考えないようにしようか。
Very muscly.
最高。川や湖で沐浴するのとは違いますよね。前に奥様のお付きで来た時以来ですけど、いいものです。
レシアーネ様と、もしやあの人も竜の写しみを？
Can she?
ええ、呼べますね。
That means you could also learn that. I feel like that would be very good. Seems like a very powerful form of transportation.
どうやって？
単身で竜を打ち果たした者のみが呼ぶ資格を得るとか。奥様もあれで負けず嫌いなたちですから、精霊お墨付きの強さの証なんて取るに決まってます。
強さの証、おとぎ話の竜騎士、私も欲しい。
いや、ダメですからね。たとえ火ばさみで竜を抑える達人でも危険です。
危険？
単身竜狩りとかコーネムの生き方は豪気っすよ。
おお、これは
気持ちがいいっすよね。
地の底と分かっていても意外と明るいのだな。まるで星空のようだ。
あの輝きは神銀っすね。
あれ全部ミス
I totally forgot that Mystery is called True Silver every now and then. I mean, they did say... I mean, Vera was like, hey, I want to make you a helmet. So, and they're going to make it out of Mithril. In the grand scheme, we are just at the moment do a little bit of sightseeing. We may have a little goal, but it's essentially sightseeing, finding out what the other races are up to, how they work, how they live. I don't know if there is going to be something bigger happening, because, you know, we are close to the end of the season. Maybe she's going to fight a dragon and get her own dragon soul. Also, I would like to see the dad of Viora, who was able to more or less tame the commander. Very interested in that.
なのか。
含有量はピンキリっすけどね。新銀の原石は火の山に巡る威力を受けて輝くっす。太陽より淡くて眩しさに弱い僕らには欠かせない光っすよ。ちなみにあの大岩も新銀っす。未生成なんでくすんでますけど、コーネムの戦士セラさんが威力を通せば強く光るっすよ。
そうか。よし、早速試してみよう。あ、そっちは。
まあいいか。
But that is okay. So it's something special. Also, I feel like this is getting closer to the man section. So she's going to channel her willpower through the stone. The stone then is going to shine, make a lot of light. She's going to be butt naked here. And Viora is going to be on the other side, is being like, oh, what's this light?
その岩に触れた時、胸の内に抱いた思いは何と言えばいいのか。武具に通すような繊維ではなくて、つい先ほどまで胸に抱いていた好奇心でもない。泣きたくなるような懐かしさ。教習？
Is that a dragon? It looks like a sea dragon.
教習？なんだそれは。のぼせたか私。見知らぬ景色のはずなのにな。
セラ。
え？
I mean, can just invite him if you want. Really?
ルベー、別の場所に行ったのでは。
着替えは別だと言ったつもりだったのだが。
男女別って着替えのみ。離れろ万族。
ハプニングでも起こらないとあの人たち進展しませんからね。
え、二人はまだなんすか？
勘違いか。
その、なんだ。そなたも大胆だの。
ドラゴン。なんで前より大きく。私がお守りいたします。
I mean, if she needs to defeat a dragon to get a dragon soul, there is a dragon she can defeat. Also, I guess it's not that they are not interested in like opposite genders. I mean, she never really tried to go back to her side. She was always just staying there, so somewhat, at least a little bit your fault. Also, I mean, you saw him, he saw you, so you are more or less quid pro quo, I would argue.
いくら婚約者とはいえ、乙女として何か大事なものをなくした気がする。お前、鎧は？
クエフトたちが持って行ってくれた。
That is funny. They just take it. It's just like, yep, yoink. We are just going to look at it. We are just going to give it a little bit of maintenance. You can do whatever. I'm guessing the weapons are from them, so that is why they don't take them, the weapons. Because they made them already.
はどうだ？
いろんな意味で閣下しすぎたようだ。はあ。
Are these not called Torii gates? Are these not called Torii gates? Isn't there something happening if you go through 100 of those?
閣下しすぎなのは私もだが。あの時か。何が少し炙られただ。私をかばってやけどして。ベイオル、お前はかっこいいな。
バレたか。なかなかどうして格好よくはいかぬな。
いや、かっこいいんだよ。
Everyone running around in armor and mask.
どのご一行、お待ちどうさま。
うちらの里の名物料理、ゆで温泉ガニと山巻貝の酒蒸しに主食のお買いもち。おお、ドワーフの郷土料理。
温泉ガニは名前の通り温泉に住むカニで独特の香りがあるけど、それがうまいんすよ。山巻貝はここらで取れるカタツムリの一種っすね。下茹で後に内臓を取って刻んだ身を酒で蒸すんす。
カタツムリ。
こっちらのお買いもは山の周囲に群生地がいくつもある上に量が取れるんで、主食にも酒の材料にもなるんす。
ノーセラ、西のおとぎ話でクエフトが作る酒といえば？
ドワーフの歌手、酒があるのか？
もちろんあるっす。
To be honest, it looks like wine.
なんと美しい赤銅色。
Copper gold color. Do you mean something akin to a whiskey? They are using potatoes. Is whiskey made out of potatoes? I don't know. Isn't vodka made out of potato? Right? What alcohol is made of potatoes? Potatoes are most famously used to produce vodka. In fact, traditional Eastern European vodka was originally potato-based, and this method continues to yield premium, naturally gluten-free spirits that have a distinctive creamy, smooth, and slightly earthy flavor profile. Sheep potato. Vodka. Now, again, this seems more like whiskey. Whiskey made out of other stuff. I don't remember. Is it grain? No. Grain is different. God damn, why did what is whiskey made of? Whiskey is made of 4 core natural ingredients: cereal grains, water, yeast, and time spent in oak barrels. So it is grains. Okay. Don't need to check the rest. Okay, it is grains.
そして今まで嗅いだことがないほどの強烈な酒精の香り。
薬学の研究中に蒸留の方法が確立されたのがこの酒の起源っす。
うま辛いこれ。
俺そいつにはこれがよく合う。
おお。
Did he call it wine? Yeah.
うまい。
こっちも試してみろ。
To be honest, I feel like whatever is the most commonly known name is what you use to describe everything else. So they know wine. So even though they have something akin to more harder liquor, they still call it wine. It's just spicy wine or strong wine. Then.
いただこう。毎度毎度食べ物全部うまいとか、やっぱりおかしいぞここ。
俺
歌詞を挟んで。
Like a married couple, he's feeding her.
やっぱハプニングが効きましたね。
裸の付き合いで真剣になって。ベヨル、次芋餅。
つまらせぬようゆっくりな。
お、もう一つのベヨル。Andy.
Up, 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 up. Okay. Do we have anything? Just a preview? No. No, 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 no. That's not a good sound.
いやー、少し食べ過ぎてしまったな。
カニ4杯、山巻貝12個、芋餅9個を平らげて少しですか？
And probably like 2 full bottles of the wine.
僕らとしては喜んでもらえたようで嬉しかったっす。
うん。心からの地層になったぞ、キマキ。
温泉にも入った、腹も満たしたとくれば、今回の旅の目的、私の兜を受領するとしよう。いざ行かん、ドワーフの工房へ。
Okay. I mean, it's nice to see how they display dwarven culture. I mean, it's one of those main fantasy archetypes. The dwarf who's good at working with metal, is somewhat underground or more comfortable with less light environment. So it does check out. It is, I would say, the Crefto are just quintessential dwarves. There are some differences. They don't really have the big beard, but they do have an explanation why. So the idea is that everyone thinks they have a big beard, but it's a little cloth to shield them from pollution and stuff or poisons. So, you know, this way we have the same dwarves, but there's a reason why they are a little bit different. But essentially they're quintessential dwarves with machine guns and rifles. So I feel like knights would not stand a chance against them, even though they were like anti-dragon bullets. I feel like a knight's armor would be like butter to a machine gun, a heavy machine gun. So maybe they are not as numerous. That is why they can't fight other nations. Maybe they are also not really, they don't really want to expand. Maybe their whole expansion is further down into the ground and they are just happy to be here. Because why should they take over other people's land that has no mithril, no metal, no stone? Right? There's not real much reason to take over other lands for them. Otherwise, I feel like they would be really hard to defeat if they wanted to attack.